All right. So this question is from Shitish saying, Dear Robin and Laura, hi, we are Diksha and Shitish from India. We watch our YouTube videos and live chat regularly and find it really helpful and look forward to it. We know that borders are closed, but we want to be prepared. We need your help in making an itinerary for our 3 weeks honeymoon road trip in New Zealand. Given below are some details which may help you in making the itinerary. We are planning it in the month of December, covering both North Island and South Island, and we want it for 21 to 22 days. Our total budget will be 13,000 New Zealand dollars, which includes accommodation, car rental, car insurance, fuel, activities, food, etc., except flight tickets. List some of the activities that we want to cover on our road trip would be the skywalk, bungee jump, scuba dive, blackwater rafting, heli hike, skydive, swing, skyline gondola, kayaking, and the Milford Sound Cruise. These activities are done at many locations in New Zealand, therefore please recommend which location would be the best to do the respective activities. Also, please suggest how many days to spend on which place, and also suggest the name of the accommodations where we can spend our night. Also suggest the number of ways how our budget can be economically used. Request you make the proper 3 weeks honeymoon road trip itinerary, including accommodations. Your advice would be great help. Thank you in advance. Regards.
Woo! All right, so let's get started. Get our trusty map outside, out, and we are going to be talking about all the places you should be visiting. The first thing that I would like to point out is that in order to work on your budget economically, first you have 13,000 New Zealand dollars for about 3 weeks road trip in New Zealand. It's a very good budget. But the main way we're going to look at your budget is that we're going to go cheap on accommodation, meaning that we're going to send you to budget or hostel accommodation, and there you can get yourself a private room. And you also have the option of private room with an ensuite bathroom, meaning that it's a private room with your own bathroom, so you don't have to share too much, but that will save you a lot of money that you can therefore spend on all your activities. That will be the main way that we're going to save you money on this itinerary right here. Anyway, here are the places that we're going to be hitting. First up, you're going to probably land in Auckland. So let's get started with Auckland.
Sure.
Ooh. Then we are going to head to Hahe, or the Bay of Islands. Then we're going to go
No, not the Bay of Islands.
Sorry, Hahe. Coromandel. My bad. Waitomo.
Sure thing.
Rotorua.
Yep.
Tongariro.
Yep.
And then we're going to go to the Ruahine Forest Park.
Ooh.
Yeah, a bit of a stop here. Wellington. Then we go to Picton.
Of course.
Nelson. Punakaiki.
Yep.
Franz Josef.
Yep.
Wanaka. Queenstown.
Yep.
And then Mount Cook.
Yep.
Geraldine.
Yep.
Christchurch.
Okay.
And then you fly back up.
Sweet.
All right. So let's get started with the itinerary. So obviously, landing in Auckland is usually the best way to find a cheaper flight to New Zealand. So that's a good way to save some money. Plus, this is basically where most of the flight will land, and anyway, you have to transfer and go somewhere else. We don't have that many flights that actually arrive in Christchurch or in Queenstown or in Wellington. They are all international airports, but it's easier to land there. Also, you say you want to do the skywalk. This is the best place to do the skywalk.
It's the only place to do the skywalk.
Exactly. So this one, you don't have a choice. You've got to do the skywalk right up in Auckland. If you do have some spare time and you feel like you want to deal with a jet lag, you can get an extra day in Auckland and explore some island like Tiri Matangi Islands, which is fantastic bird paradise. You're going to see so many different birds and everything. It's amazing. Or you can go to Rangitoto Island. Rangitoto Island is a volcano. It's an extinct volcano, so you're good with that. And there's some beautiful lava fields, and it's a nice little hike that takes you up the crater of the volcano, which is about an hour, yeah. And from there, you also have a beautiful view of the skyline. To get there, you need to take a ferry from downtown Auckland, so you actually get to explore the Auckland Harbour as well, and it's rather cheap, so that's a good place to get started. Now, I will refer very often to this article that I already sent you, but it's New Zealand in 3-week itinerary right here on NZ Pocket Guides. I will give you a link in the description below. And in there, you have the link to all the accommodation that I'm going to mention. So for this one here, staying in Auckland, I will suggest you stay at Haka Lodge, which is the second one on the list. It's a hostel, but again, you can get a private room and ensuite private room, which are really good. Then you're moving on to Hawaii, Laura.
Okay, so since you have scuba diving on the list of things that you want to do, this is this sort of area around the Coromandel is a really good place to do scuba diving. More in particular, going to Whitianga, which is pretty close to Hawaii. And they do some good scuba diving tours out to a place called the Mercury Islands. And also, you know, it's a bit further north, and that's kind of usually where it's a bit warmer to do scuba diving. The further south you go, the more chilly those waters feel, or at least like the whole temperatures in the South Island tend to feel a bit chillier. So if you're concerned about trying to be as warm as possible, that's probably the best place to go and do a scuba dive as well.
And you can also do kayaking at Cathedral Cove, because I know it's on your list as
Yes.
well, if you feel like doing that. So yeah, so see if you want to spend 1 or 2 days there. And for accommodation, we recommend getting yourself a cabin at the Hot Water Beach Top 10 Holiday Park,
Yes.
because you're right near Hot Water Beach, which you've got to discover. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving on all the way down to Waitomo. So Waitomo is where you can go explore all the beautiful glowworm caves. You can also do some blackwater rafting, which is absolutely epic. But you've got to at least just go in the glowworm caves and actually check that out. It's absolutely fascinating.
Well,
And just
blackwater rafting is on the list of things to do.
Is it? Oh,
so,
sorry, yeah,
yeah,
actually,
so
so definitely blackwater rafting.
Definitely.
This is where you want to do it.
Yeah.
So you can go with a company called Waitomo Adventures, which is fantastic to do some caving over there, or you can go with the legendary Blackwater rafting company, which does like the Blackwater rafting tour. But the Waitomo Caving Adventure is actually a really cool one to try, actually, and it's a very similar tour, but the caves are slightly bit different and really, really epic. So yeah, definitely worth checking those one out. The Waitomo Top 10 Holiday Park as well does have some private cabins, which are quite cool, or otherwise you have the Waitomo Backpackers, in which you can get yourself a private room. Okay, we're moving on to Rotorua.
Okay, in Rotorua, I'm just going to check if you have anything on your list. The Skyline Gondola is on your list of things to do. And because the Skyline Gondola, there's also one in Queenstown, but we would actually recommend to do the one in Rotorua. If that is the case that you want to do the luge there, which is kind of what most people want to do when they go up the Skyline Gondola. The Rotorua luge, it's a bigger sort of basically amount of tracks. There's 3 tracks there, and yeah, they are probably in our opinion, they're kind of the best tracks to do for the luge. So definitely that's the thing to do in Rotorua. But for other things that aren't on your list, it's also a geothermal sort of hotspot. They have lots of geothermal parks, which is really cool. And also they're really well known for the Maori culture. So if you want to see some sort of cultural performances, or maybe go to a Maori dinner night where they do traditional Maori food known as a hangi, then you can go and do that sort of activity in Rotorua as well.
So it's definitely a 2-day stay.
Yeah.
Then we're moving on to Tongariro. So for Tongariro, you can stay... for accommodation in Rotorua, you're going to stay in Spa Lodge. Spa Lodge. So it's a little bit down on the list. But again, check out the article. I already gave you the link. I know we did chat on the comment section. But yeah, so it's Spa Lodge is the one that we recommend. Okay, then moving on to Tongariro. So obviously the Tongariro crossing is probably the most popular day hike in New Zealand. So it's definitely worth doing. You can either stay in Taupo, or you can stay in Turangi, or you can stay in Whakapapa. So there is 3 different areas where you can be staying. We only recommend staying about 1 day. You know, you get there, you do maybe 1 or 2 nights, depending on where you want to stay. And you just do this big hike and then you drive again. For accommodation, we recommend Taupo de Brett. So it will be the first one on the list in the article that we mentioned.
And they also have hot pools there at that, it's like a holiday park kind of style accommodation with private cabins and stuff to stay in. And yeah, they have a hot pool sort of water park like complex on site, which is a pretty cool place to stay.
Here you go. And then we're moving on to a beautiful, stunning forest. It's just because this drive is a little bit long and you have a bit of spare time, so we like to stop along the way.
Yeah, so in the Ruahine Ranges, we're kind of thinking about one accommodation you could go and stay at is a place called River Valley Lodge. And they're famous for some of their adventure activities. They do whitewater rafting there. They also have horse trekking, which is pretty cool as well. And the lodge itself is in a really scenic location. They have private cabins there, which is ideal for a honeymoon. They have like a restaurant there as well. They have some stunning walks by the river, and we do have videos of when we stayed at River Valley Lodge. So make sure to check those out on our channel. If you just type in River Valley Lodge NZ Pocket Guide on YouTube, you're sure to find it. But yeah, I think that's about it.
It's really awesome to stay around here. And then we're moving on to Wellington. Wellington is the capital city of New Zealand. You will be able to learn so much about New Zealand by visiting the Te Papa Museum, which is a free museum, and it's a fantastic one. So it's a great way to save money, to just, add some free activities in there. And you have to, go to Wellington because you have to take the ferry anyway. Accommodation over there, the Hotel Waterloo and the Dwellington, both of them are the top one on the list on the article, and they're fantastic, and they have great private accommodation. And then after, you're going to have to hop on the ferry to go explore the South Islands. And on the South Island, you're going to arrive in Picton. And a lot of people leave Picton straight away, but I think Picton is definitely worth staying one night and exploring a little around. What can you do in Picton?
Well, if you're looking for another place for kayaking, Picton is a good place to go to. It is sort of the entrance to a place called the Marlborough Sounds, which is a very scenic area of New Zealand. But they also do cruises there as well. Of course, everyone's heard of Milford Sound, and I know you're keen to do the Milford Sound cruise. But if you're into that sort of activities, one of the sort of overlooked but like sort of underrated activities which people should definitely try out is doing cruises in the Marlborough Sounds and kayaking as well. Often there's wildlife interactions as well, like you can often see seals, there's dolphins in the Marlborough Sounds as well. So if you want to try your chances at a wildlife interaction, then the Marlborough Sounds is a good place to do that.
And if you want to find a good accommodation in Picton, check out the Tombstone Backpackers. First, the neighborhood is pretty quiet. It's just right opposite of the cemetery, which is quite funny. But they do have some private room, and they even have a private kind of caravan where you can stay. It's very fun to stay in there. So see if you can get that accommodation. It's quite cool.
Yeah.
And then we're moving on to Nelson, which is probably the kayaking mecca of New Zealand. You can go ahead onto the Abel Tasman National Park. A good way to actually explore the national park is to do both kayak and hike tour. So you will be taking by boat onto a small cove, then you're going to be kayaking around a bit the national park, and then you're going to drop the kayak there and walk your way back. And it's quite awesome. It's a full day activity, but you get to do everything that is on offer in that stunning national park. It looks like absolute paradise. So it's absolutely fantastic to stay here. There is a lot of really awesome accommodation over there. If you want to stay in Nelson itself, so you can go for Nelson City Top 10 Holiday Park. Same thing, they have great little cabins and everything. Or you also have the Tahuna Beach Hostel, which is also offering private rooms, which is quite nice as well. Both of the links, again, are in the article that I will link at the bottom of the video, and at that I already gave it to you. Shittage. Anyway, we're moving on all the way to Punakaiki, Laura.
Taking a bit of a detour.
Yeah, nice little drive. So this is going to be a bit of a full day road trip, isn't it?
Yeah, so because this is quite a long drive, we suggest that you stop midway in the Nelson Lakes National Park. A very popular stop there is at Lake Rotorua. Basically, it's a superb photo stop. There's a jetty. You can get your obligatory photos there.
Mountain backdrop, placid lake, jetty. Just jump from the jetty, take the photo, and you're gonna want to print it on the canvas.
Yes. Then you're gonna get to drive through the Buller Gorge, which is a very nice scenic drive as you make your way to the west coast of the South Island. And then you'll start heading down the west coast, and not too far down there, you'll find the little town of Punakaiki, which is famous for the Punakaiki pancake rocks. This is just a 20-minute sort of loop walk on the coast to see some really crazy rock formations where it looks like stacked pancakes. That's why they're called the pancake rocks. It's another place you can do kayaking. It's another place you can do horseback riding. It's a place where you can do stand-up paddleboarding if you wanted to try something different from kayaking. They have stand-up paddleboarding activities on the river near there. So yeah, that's Punakaiki.
I'm really bad at stand-up paddleboarding, just saying.
Yeah.
All right, and so if you want to stay somewhere nice, try the Te Nikao retreat. Sending the link. It's the last one on the list on this one, but yeah, it's pretty cool, and they have great private accommodation as well. All right, we're making our way to Franz Josef. I know that on your list you want to do the heli hike on the glacier. Definitely, absolutely worth doing. So if you base yourself in Franz Josef, if the weather is not that great, you can always go to Fox Glacier, which is a little bit afterwards, or you can go to Mount Cook later on down your trip. So trying to do it in Franz Josef is the right way to do it, because if you get to do it, you're good. There is also some awesome kayaking, like a Glacier Lake Kayak. I think that's the name of the company.
Glacier Country Kayak.
Glacier Country Kayak, sorry. So really awesome kayaking there to do. You can also do a hike to go from quite far but see the face of the glacier, which is quite nice. And you have some amazing hot pools, and you can get some private hot pools as well at the Franz Josef Glacier pools. And so like that, you can just be you and your lover and have a nice private honeymoon time. So that's definitely an awesome area to stay there. And obviously, the main accommodation there, the biggest, the best, is Rainforest Retreat. Rainforest Retreat is fantastic. Say hi to Oscar at reception. When you check in, it's such an awesome place to stay at. No question asked, you will love it.
They basically do all types of accommodation. Yeah. So if you want to treat yourself to something more luxurious, they have that. If you want to go for something much cheaper, they have sort of backpacker private rooms and stuff like that. So whatever you want, they definitely have it there.
All right, and then you're going to drive to Queenstown with a quick pit stop at Wanaka, so you get to stretch your legs and check out the lake, and you go all the way to Queenstown.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going to skip Wanaka. I just realized the amount of days. We're a bit stretched right here. So you're just going to do a pit stop in Wanaka. You don't need to stay there.
Okay.
So, let's drive all the way to Queenstown.
Okay, so in Queenstown, let's see what you have on your list. You have a swing on there. So one of the really cool activities to do in the adventure capital of New Zealand is the Canyon Swing. It's a pretty crazy activity. You can do it together. You can do it like tandem. It's definitely
you're on a honeymoon
experience.
You have to do it together.
So that's a really good place to do that giant swing. If you want to do a bungee jump, then they have 3 different types of bungee jumps in Queenstown. You can do the ledge bungee, which is where it's wrapped around your waist, the bungee, so you can sort of like, well, not the bungee itself, but the harness is around your waist. So you could do some freestyle moves if you want to impress your new hubby, or you can do the Nevis swing, the Nevis bungee, which is the highest bungee jump. If you want to just do the highest bungee jump there is in New Zealand, then that's the one to do. Or you can do the original bungee jump of New Zealand, which is at the Kawarau River. That's still a pretty awesome one to do just over the river. It's a very scenic location as well. So you've got 3 choices there. I mean, whichever one appeals to you the most. It's hard to pick one in particular, but they're all pretty awesome.
So since you also want to do the Milford Sound cruise, we actually recommend you stay in Queenstown and then you just take a bus that goes all the way down to Milford Sound, does the cruise and bring you back up all in one day. You're already going to be driving quite a lot. Let just them do the driving and then you can enjoy the view so much more. They know where to stop. They stop a lot along the way. You have a full video of us doing that actually, so you can check all of that out, and it's definitely worth doing from Queenstown. Now,
I was just going to say you do have a skydive on the list as well, which although we've actually passed it, and there are skydives in Queenstown, I would actually recommend doing a skydive in Franz Josef. Yes. The scenery there is it's very diverse. You get to see mountains, you can see all the way to the sea. You get to actually see some of the highest mountains in New Zealand, which is pretty cool.
And if you really want to save some money, you can do it in Taupo because that's the cheapest in the country, and the views are pretty good as well. All right, so accommodation one in Queenstown. I recommend Absolute Value Accommodation. It's right in the center of town. It's great. It's new. It looks great. I like it. I like Absolute. Those guys are quite cool. And also Sir Cedric Tahuna Pod is also a good one. And something you can get private accommodation in both of those. So that's pretty awesome. All right, let's make our way all the way to Mount Cook.
Okay, so this is going to be quite a long drive.
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah,
sort of
Mount Cook,
like this.
All right, so in Mount Cook, you can do another heli hike. So if the heli hike on the glacier didn't work here, you can definitely do it in Mount Cook. It's on top of the Tasman Glacier, which is the longest and largest glaciers of New Zealand. It's fantastic. It looks amazing. You can also do one of the cheapest scenic flights, which is called Mount Cook 360, where you get on the plane and you check out all the Alpines, the Southern Alps and everything. It looks amazing and it's quite cheap. You can also do some fantastic stargazing because it is a dark sky reserve. So there's really a lot of awesome things to do around Mount Cook. So whatever you basically didn't have the time to do, you can do it here. So definitely worth doing. And sorry. The Aoraki Mount Cook Alpine Lodge is a great place to stay at, or the Aoraki Mount Cook Motel. Same thing, the two links are on the article. God, my throat is gone now. Let's go to Geraldine while Laura talks and I take a sip of water.
Okay, Geraldine is a good stop between Mount Cook and Christchurch. On the way there, you probably want to check out Lake Tekapo, just because it's very scenic. It's very famous in New Zealand, but in terms of staying there, there's not like a ton of things to do, and that's why we suggest to actually stay a little further up north at Geraldine, where you'll also be closer to Christchurch. It's just a better sort of pit stop to go there. In terms of activities, if you are interested in doing whitewater rafting, there's whitewater rafting there. Grade 5 rivers, it's pretty scary.
Horse trekking, really epic
horse trekking as well. And of course, like there is anywhere in New Zealand, in any of the places we've already mentioned, there are a ton of walks to do to check out some of that famous New Zealand landscape.
All right, so
there's also an alpaca farm.
Accommodation-wise, get yourself a private cabin at the Geraldine Top 10 Holiday Park. And then we're moving on to Christchurch. So you're going to finish your trip in Christchurch and then take a flight back to Auckland and then fly back home. That's really what we recommend. So you get to do the most around your trip rather than having to drive all the way back to Auckland. And so, yeah, in Christchurch, if you do have some extra time, you can definitely check out all the gardens that there is. You know, you're here for your honeymoon, so check out some beautiful flowers with your beautiful lady and enjoy yourself.
And if you are coming, if you do manage to make it in December, that will be in summer, so all the flowers will be nice and in bloom.
Exactly. And if you do have an extra day, you can take a day trip to Akaroa with a lot of amazing activities to do there. You can check out little blue penguins. You can check out the Hector dolphins, which are one of the smallest dolphins in the world. It's a fantastic area, super romantic. It's a French town, so you can have some nice food and everything. So it's kind of fun. And accommodation one in Christchurch, we suggest you stay at the All Stars Inn on Bailey's. So same thing, it is the link is in the article that I linked below. All right, so I hope that this covers all the activities you want to do in your time frame. Kshitij, if you do find this video useful, or if you're watching this video and your name is not Kshitij, give us a like. It's a great free way for you to say thank you for all the hard work helping you plan your trip to New Zealand. If you have some question on your own, in the live chat right now or in the description, in the comment section of the video. And if you're new here, subscribe. We do like things like this almost every single day at the moment. We publish a ton of videos. So here you go. All right, let's go back to the live chat.